A naked man sat in the hallway, with his back to them. No, not a man. James recognized its stretched limbs and stooped shoulders. The pale thing squatted on its hunches, rocking back and forth like it was pulsated. It all seemed to be in pain. James hugged his son closer and backed away. Then he heard Daniel's voice. Dad? James turned to Daniel and he heard the voice again. Dad? But Daniel's lips hadn't moved. James looked back to the hunched figure. Its head jerked when it talked, like a tick. Hello? Dad? James's mouth went dry. It took several tries before he could speak. Don't call me that.
It is.
This voice's name.
For you.
Go away. Leave my family alone.
But I am. Your family.
The longer it talked, the more its voice became distorted and blurred. An icy feeling nestled in James's stomach. Who are you?
Someone who came to visit.
Why here?
You invited me.
James's heart thudded against the inside of his chest. Why?
I had something you wanted.
James licked his dry lips. You're lying. You don't have anything I want. I want you to leave. Leave and never come back.
Who is Daniel's mother?
James blinked. What?
Who is Daniel's mother?
What the hell kind of question is that?
How old is Daniel?
James blinked again. Thane's voice caused a pingy pain in the center of his forehead. Stop asking me these things.
When is Daniel's birthday?
I don't know.
What is his middle name?
Shut up.
What was his first word?
I said shut up! James wanted to tear the thing apart with his bare hands. Only the heaviness of Daniel in his arms kept him where he was.
You were alone. You wanted a son, so I made one for you.
James' hands began to shake. That doesn't make any sense. Made out of what?
Out of myself.
James' stomach turned over.
But now, I need those parts back.
Daniel picked at James's shoulder, trying to get his attention. Something was strange about Daniel's face. Danny, open your eyes. Daniel scrunched his eyes even tighter. Open your eyes. Danny, open your eyes. Open your eyes! Daniel shook his head, trying to refuse, but he couldn't hold it forever. Daniel shook his head, trying to refuse, but he couldn't hold it forever. Eventually, his eyelids flickered up, and James saw the truth. Daniel's eyes were gone. James almost dropped him. For a second, he wanted to throw his son down so that he could stop looking into those empty holes in his face. Daniel opened his mouth, as if to speak, but of course he had no voice.
He is coming back. Be part of me again.
No. Give him back! Give him back!
I cannot. It has been so long. I warned you. That's what happened.
You're lying. You're a fucking liar. Give me my son back. Give him back!
I do not lie. I warned you. He cannot exist forever. But you do not remember. You can only remember what I want you to. You forget all the times we have talked.
Daniel felt like a doll, or an empty bag. His hair was falling out, disappearing before it touched the ground. His hands vanished into his sleeves, and his feet rolled up inside his pant cuffs. James cradled the tiny, shapeless thing, tears streaming down his face. Soon, he held a pile of empty clothes, and then those too were gone. He looked around the house. Toys disappeared. Photos vanished from their frames. Daniel's little shoes were no longer by the door. James turned towards Daniel's room and confronted a wall where the door should have been. He groped the blank surface, fingertips scrambling. He hit his head hard against the wall. The pain didn't feel real. Why did you do this?
It was what you wanted. And I learned so much.
This is impossible. People will ask. People will wonder. The police, the hospitals, the people in the neighborhood.
They have already forgotten him. They only remembered what I wanted them to. Like you.
James pressed his hand to his aching skull. Will I at least remember him after this?
You can try, but your mind will fail you. Now that everything he was is part of me again.
James sat on the floor, looking at the blank wall. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw the thing creep towards him. It even felt its wet hand on his shoulder, but he did not look at it. "If I won't remember any of this," he said, "then why tell me?"
Because a father should know.
And then James was alone. Abigail worried about James sometimes. When they met a year ago, he said that he'd never been married and he'd never had kids. But there was a certain pained expression he assumed when he said the last part. Abigail knew that look. She'd met parents who lost children before. You learned to recognize it. And there were other things about him that worried her too. Sometimes she would find him staring at a particular spot on the wall, brow furrowed in concentration. He did not seem to recognize he was doing it. And of course there was the insomnia, and the sleepwalking to consider too. Yes, there was lots of things to worry about, but she loved him all the same. James still said he never had kids. Neither had she. She'd long wanted one, but it was impossible. And she worried that James wouldn't stay with a woman who couldn't be a mother, though he constantly assured her that was not so. There were times, and more often of late, there were the nights when James took to sleepwalking, and even Abigail imagined that she heard strange scuttling noises in the house and saw impossible shapes in dark corners. When she thought she would do anything, absolutely anything, if it meant having a little daughter for she and James to raise. And at those moments, she became truly afraid. But she never knew why.